Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This art course is designed to use supplies that everyone should have at home. Copy paper, typing paper, any pencil that you happen to have lying around. You don't need three, that's just to show different sorts of pencils. And any pencil sharpener. Again, you don't need three, just any one that you happen to have lying around the house. And an eraser. And the first thing to do is to sharpen your pencil and make sure you've got a nice point. Now this week we're going to carry on from last week's, doing squares and rectangles again, and also cubes, cuboids, and also do some very basic perspective. Like last week, we're going to start off by making some marks on the paper, and this week I want you to do some zigzags one way and then zigzags another way. And then some roundy shapes, and then draw some squares. And there's different ways you can draw squares. You can draw them with just one continuous line without taking your pencil off the paper, or 4 separate strokes. And then some rectangles. The difference between squares and rectangles is that squares, all the sides are the same length, whereas rectangles have 2 short sides and 2 long sides. Then make some diagonal lines going in both directions, and then some dashes. And that completes our warm-up. So now we're ready to start drawing some cubes. First of all, I found a box that is a cube, and I'm just looking at it from different angles. So if you can find any box that's a cube, it's worth looking at. Start by drawing a square, and then we're going to draw diagonal lines, 2 of them, which are parallel to each other, and then join them up at the back with a straight line. Then draw a line down, and then draw another diagonal line which is parallel to the 2 previous ones you've drawn, and you've now drawn your first cube. I'm now drawing the internal lines, which you would see if the cube was transparent. And it's just to help you kind of visualize where the lines would go. Now draw another square and 2 more diagonal lines parallel to each other. Join them up. Then a vertical line and another diagonal. Parallel again. These 2 are parallel, these 2 are parallel, these 2 are parallel, and then these 2 are parallel. Now I'm going to show you another way to draw a cube, which I think is much easier. Draw a square, then draw a second square, slightly offset, but over the top of the first one. Now join the 2 squares using diagonal lines. And you've drawn a cube. Try that once more. And now we're going to draw a rectangle in the same fashion. Two squares slightly offset. And here I've said that if you make those sides the same and these 2 sides the same, then it helps. Then join with diagonal lines. And you've made a cuboid, which is, if you like, a rectangular cube. Of course, you can draw the cuboid in the same way that we drew the regular cubes. But I find it easier to draw it as 2 squares or 2 rectangles. Now we're going to draw a cube, and this time we're going to shade it in. Here's the light source coming from the top left, which will mean that this side will be dark and this side will be dark, and in fact the right hand one will be the darkest. And now we're going to shade it in. At the bottom will be darker than the top. Now I'm drawing the shadow. Now we're going to draw a rectangle the same and shade it in. The light source this time is low and it's coming from the right. That means there's some shadow on the top, and then the real shadow of the box is on the left. So here we have a cuboid. Now we've done those 2 practice ones, and we'll do one in a little bit more detail. But first of all, I found this ring box, and it's not quite a cube, it is just about a cuboid. But I decided I would try and draw it. Now I'm trying to draw it looking at it as you would see it through the viewfinder, which isn't an easy thing to do. So it is off slightly, so I apologise for that. But hopefully you'll just get the general gist of what I mean. But the angles are slightly out. And it was also important to try to see the shadows as you would see them, which again my hand's in the way, so it is quite a problem. Because I have 2 light sources, it is a bit of a confused shadow. Hopefully you'll just have 1 light source. Look at boxes. I mean, this is an oxo box, this is a cuboid. And just think about them and hold them and try and draw one. Put it down on the work surface and draw it. It's always a good exercise, that. Now we're going to have a go at some 1-point basic perspective. One point just means that you have 1 vanishing point in the picture. So first of all, draw a line using a ruler about the centre of your paper. Put a dot in the middle, which is your vanishing point. And that's where all lines on it. Now on the line, that is your eye level. Now we're going to draw some cuboids, and I'm just going to draw first of all some rectangles using a ruler. Because I want these to be nice and straight lines. And some at the bottom. So some above the line and some below. I've just drawn 3 above and 3 below. Now the edges of each of these rectangles you need to join up with the vanishing point in the centre of that line. So the 2 outer rectangles will have 3 lines which join up with the vanishing point, whereas the central one will only have 2. And it'll become clear why in a minute. Turn your wheel if it makes it easier to draw. Now do the same for the bottom ones. Again, the 2 outer rectangles will have 3 lines joining up with the vanishing point, whereas the central one will only have 2. And I've actually drawn these a bit close together so those lines are almost going over each other. Now we're going to complete the cuboids by drawing horizontal and vertical lines to make the rectangles into cuboids, as you see in the drawing. Just to make it clearer, I'm going to go over them with pen. So I'm just going over the actual cuboid with the pen. I'm not going over the lines that go towards the vanishing points. But you'll see how those lines that go towards the vanishing points actually make the boxes, the cuboids themselves. They're used in their construction. Now, because of where our eye level is, the cuboids above the line are ones we are looking up towards, whereas the ones below the line we are looking down on. And that is why it's important to know where your eye level is. And as you see, the central one, you are looking at it front on. So in fact, your eye, although that's your eye level, you would actually be in the center. Now I'm just shading them in. I actually put the light source in at the end, but it is on the line, on that vanishing point line, so that the tops of the bottom boxes are light, they're in the light, and the most shadow is on the front surfaces, whereas the boxes that are on the top row, the underneath of them is reflecting the light, and the front and the sides are in shadow. So I'm just tidying up the edges where I've gone over a bit. Now, once you've completed this exercise, I have actually done a project like we did the apple last week. I've done a project which is a tissue box, and you can see that I haven't included it in today's video because it made it too long, but I will be releasing the video on Wednesday, so not next Sunday but Wednesday, of the tissue box. So that is just drawing that, and so that will be 2 videos this week. There's your light source. So thank you very much for watching, and please be sure to join us again on Wednesday when we will do the actual drawing project. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe to see more. And if you click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button, you'll be sure not to miss any of my videos. And stay well, stay home, stay safe. Bye.